Obviously, diversity plays a key role in the Durham Regional Police, and we represent, or at least try to represent, the community we serve. We police with public trust, and if we lose that or ever compromise that, we can't do our jobs, and I can't emphasize how important that really is. I'm not going to read slide by slide, and we all know that Stats Canada is outdated, and we really can't use their numbers as it relates to today's world, but the basic stats here speak for themselves. We all know that Durham region, especially in the west end of the region, is changing at such a rapid rate. I presently live in Ajax, and I see the demographic swing in such a rapid way, and in the area that I live, it's quite interesting to learn from all the newcomers coming into our area and how important that is for me as a person, and but just as importantly as a police officer, and to represent our organization as a whole, that we have a lot to learn, and I can't emphasize that enough. Back in 2003, as a result of some police-related issues, the Diversity Advisory Committee was established under the direction of the Chief's Office. That's evolved into a completely different type of committee as it stands today. For the last 3 years, I've had the privilege to be a co-chair on that group, and one of the key areas that we've tried to develop and enhance is that outreach and learning from our community, building those relationships, having a better appreciation and understanding. But if I've learned nothing else, the most important thing that I've taken away from the work that we've done there is listening, and I can't emphasize that enough. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. Just a short period of time ago, probably just over a year ago, I had an opportunity to speak to a young person from the LGBT community, and very quickly learned that this person was struggling. And I did a little bit of homework, not on that individual, but that demographic as a whole, and realized how important it was to our community. And as a result, we reached out to our friends at the Boys and Girls Club of Durham and struck a relationship and asked if we could establish some type of a program to get in and make some inroads with these kids, because it was very clear to me right from the get-go, because there was a lack of trust, a lack of confidence in the police as a whole and as a profession. And in last September, we started a program with the kids over in Oshawa, and the first session was quite interesting, because here's some big, bald, old cop coming in, and with a couple of our colleagues, one, Barb Perry from the university, with her background, we felt it was very important that she was there to help us, and some of our other officers within our organization. And it was quite interesting, because it made it very clear to the kids right from the get-go that we're here to listen, and we want to hear your stories, because they thought that we were going to come and tell them the way things should be, and historically police officers are very bad at that. And as a result of this program, very, very quickly, which was surprising to me, but very rewarding, we had an opportunity to sit down just before Christmas with a number of these kids, where they actually opened up and shared their stories and some of the challenges they face, both with police organizations, with family, with the community as a whole. And I can tell you, the last session that I was at just before Christmas, it brought tears to my eyes listening to some of these stories from some of these kids. So the message I want to get out there is that we got to get better at listening. We have to get better at approaching these people and not wait for them to come to us, and how important is those relationships and those connections that I've had the opportunity to make, both through my ongoing profession, and more recently having the privilege to sit on the LDIPSI has paid huge dividends for me as a police officer and as a person as a whole. So I'll quickly go through some of these slides, and I'll get to the nitty-gritty here that I've been asked to speak about. That's again with the committee. There's about 15 to 20 active members representing the community, and they're the voice of the community for us, and it's made some it's assisted us in ways that I couldn't imagine. Having that opportunity to call on somebody, or call on a group or an organization in the region, to ask questions, to learn from them, and that's where this committee has paid some huge dividends for our organization. It's one thing to sit around a table and talk to people and share stories, but to actually make those connections, go out into the community and listen to them, is very important. And the common theme throughout this session today and with our organization is that outreach program and that initiative to get out there and talk to the people. Some of the programs that are mentioned in the bottom there that were ongoing, the youth and policing program, some folks here in the room probably have a bit of knowledge about it. It's an evolving program. We're probably the envy of the province as it relates to this type of program. The kids are fully engaged, and I can tell you, if anybody has the opportunity ever to get out and sit in on some of the sessions with our young people that are involved in this program, it's very rewarding. In 2005, it became very apparent to us that we needed to develop a more strategic plan and goals as it relates to diversity in our region, and to clearly identify the direction that Durham Regional Police needs to go to make those inroads with our community. And obviously the goal was to ensure that both the residents and the visitors coming into our region felt safe and felt confident that they'd be treated in a respectful way by both the police and other members of the community. We're into a second phase of that, and I can't emphasize how important it is that we realized very early in the game that we can do a heck of a lot better, and how important that is to be able to sit back and really understand that we got to get better at what we're doing. We all know, again, as I mentioned earlier, this region demographically is on a huge swing, especially in the West End, which Audrey mentioned. I'm moving over to be the officer in charge in Ajax Pickering in the next week or so. We have to practice what we preach. We have to live diversity in our organization, and that's been a challenge for our organization. Have we done okay? I think we have. Can we do better? Absolutely. And it's an evolving process. So I can't stress enough you have to live and breathe what those what those beliefs are, and really live up to what the expectations of our community are as it relates to diversity. Our goals obviously are self-explanatory. Again, is to gain and buy-in from both our members of our organization, and to achieve those ultimate goals that we're trying to achieve. As I mentioned earlier, it's got to be from the top down. Senior leaders must set the tone, and commitment is diversity competence. Second part of the plan was the engaging in the community, as I mentioned earlier. A number of different focus groups are developed, and again, to learn from those folks. And a lot of those connections were made as some of the work that some of the officers on the front line had developed already, so it made it easier for us to reach out to these different folks across the region to make some inroads, to get them here, to listen to them, and that paid huge dividends as far as having that input and developing the ultimate plan that is in place today. I've already talked about some of the some of these things that are already listed, but again, clear vision must be laid out from the organization from the top down, and buy-in again from the top down. All levels of leadership right to the front line, which in our organization is the most important piece of policing, is that front line response, which makes up the majority of our organization. Receiving input and listening to our members, how important that is. Can't put enough value on that. And again, commitment to researching and in learning and borrowing or stealing ideas from other organizations, and not just police. And again, just to continue to, with that momentum, build on it, and keep that that whole theme and keep it as a priority in our organization. I won't bore you with these because it would take forever, but again, we have a lot of different organizations that we partner with, and I can't emphasize enough how important that really is to our successes. Are we doing a good job? I think we are. Can we do better? Absolutely. And again, we can't do the type of work that we do anymore. And in Martin's analogy with the sandbox, our walls of our sandbox are long gone. And the quicker that all of us understand that and accept that, it'll make our job that much easier, and ultimately making Durham Region a much safer place to live, work, and play. So I thank you, and we'll entertain any questions later. Thank you.